We're here on the pound Aussie 60-minute time frame, and we have just violated a level of structure, and we are actually in trend, and based on the candlestick formation I've entered, and we have two targets. And what I'd like to do is just talk you through the trade and why I've got involved with it. So if I zoom out, you can see that what was actually happening here, we were in trend, retracement, new structure high, retracement, new structure high to here, and then we retraced all the way back down into this outside return, and quite importantly we did not violate it, so we are still in trend. And then as we zoom in, what happened here, you can see that we had a move up, a retracement, a move up, a retracement, and we've moved up again, and now quite importantly we've just put in a break above, close above this level. Okay, and this was the candle that broke above, and what we're doing now is we're 30 minutes into this next hourly candle, and we pull back into that structure level, and quite importantly as well 183 flat. And so these types of trades, I can look at them as though this is just a small pullback before the hourly candle turns and continues higher. And as we know, we're in trend, and I believe that we can get to, in fact, just let me delete everything off. We have an AB equals CD pattern right here, and that completes at this level, and as you can see looking left, it comes in at the top of this structure zone right here. And so what I've managed to do here then is I dropped down a time frame. In fact, sorry, I did drop down to the 5 range, so let me just do that. So here we are on the 5 range, and I'm just going to put on that structure level which was there, and on the 5 range you can see that we tested, we had a little rejection here before we broke through to the upside. So what I've managed to do here, we've come back down into the bottom of this structure level here, and I've managed to get my stops 5 pips underneath the low, and I'm actually playing for a retest of the highs, just a bit above the highs actually, and then secondary targets are a retest of the AB equals CD pattern there. So what does this do? Well, in terms of risk, it's looking like this, and in terms of reward, we have quite a nice risk reward on this trade. Going to there, going to make that green. That should actually be there. So let me reduce that down properly. So we're playing for a retest of the highs. And then target 2s is going to be there. I'm actually going to front run it by a pip. And so you can see now on this potential trade we have quite a nice risk to reward. So playing the internal structure, of which we can see on the 5 range, I don't have any other confluence here. There's no RSI confluence. We haven't had a higher high, higher close. This is just simply we've broken above on the higher time frame. We've got a structure level that's been tested now 3 times, and we're clearly in trend to the upside, and we've got a little structure shelf here, and that's what I'm playing. And so stops are below that. Let me just double check that we are 5 pips below it. No, we're only 3. I did check this. Sometimes my data on the 5 range changes. So there we go. We're looking at just over a 1-to-1 risk reward here for, well, there you go, 14 pips of risk. Potential reward there, we're looking at 22. Well, it's a little bit better than I thought. And 43 pips to secondary target. So just going back out to the 60-minute time frame and just zooming in, what I'd like to see is just for that hourly candle to pull right back and rally up and hit our targets. Doesn't always happen, of course, but nevertheless it does more than 50% of the time. So we'll come back to this trade and see if we can get first and potentially second targets out of this trade. And a little update on this trade, currently now 18 pips up. we have come within 3 pips of my target, and my rule is 2 pips. When we come close to target, I can move to break even. However, because I'm playing for the extremes of the top of structure here, I am going to move and reduce the risk down on this right now. I'm actually just going to give it a little bit of breathing room just underneath that stop. And my alarm's just been triggered. That means I am now 1 pip away from targets. So what I can do now is roll my stops to a couple of pips past break even there, 1 pip past break even, sorry, so that if this trade does turn around and stop me out, worst case scenario now is going to be a break even trade. And we're back. I've had the video pause for probably 30 minutes or so, and we're consolidating here. You can see on the 5 range, and it's not to be unexpected because we're up at this structure level and we're fighting to get past it, to be honest, and we just have to wait. And it's actually good to see this sideways movement. This typically means that we do break to the upside. Doesn't always, but that's what it does mean. So I'll pause it again and come back probably when this is hit now. And we're back. There's just a few minutes to go until the close of the hourly candle, and price is just being a little bit erratic here as we approach that hourly close, and so we could see a new high put in here for the close. And if we do and we go on to hit targets, I'll go to the 60-minute time frame and just show you the hourly candle, but you can see how we've been consolidating sideways here. Would be nice just to get a little pop up there for the last couple of pips. Okay, so that's another alarm I had. We've now tested the target ones, but hasn't taken because it needs to go past it. Lovely, and there we go. And what I'm just going to do is go out to the 60-minute time frame, and in the first part of the video I said that I was hoping that we would get the retracement on the hourly candle. Well, that didn't happen because this is the big bearish candle here, but what happened is we held that internal structure level on the 5 range, and from there we've gone up. So I'm just going to hold for second targets here, and we'll come back, and if I can't record them, it's quite late now, it's 9 o'clock, it might be a trade that I have to finish off the recording tomorrow. Okay, we're actually only a couple of pips away from target now, and we're approaching 10 o'clock. The pound Aussie has a very large spread, and we're talking 10 pips plus. So what I'm just going to do is, as we go up a little bit higher, because we've got 8 minutes now until the 10 o'clock, I don't want to be charged 10 pips. I'd prefer to take a hit of a couple of pips on this trade and get out the trade just a little bit early rather than, again, risk those 10 pips. Just wait for it to pull back. Okay, that'll do, 39 pips. So there we go, target 2's hit for 39 pips. Do me a favour, if you do like these videos, you like the way I run through the underwriting using the high time frame analysis, the entries, stops, targets, and the way that really I try to capture the trade going on to hit, which I think is quite an important part to actually see. And you'll notice very often that it doesn't just rally up and hit. It's very rare that happens. Because we take targets at structure, we tend to have a battle that goes on. But there we go, 39 pips hit. If you like it, please leave me a comment, share, and of course like the video.